The other day, I did a video on Reason 13 of all things, and a lot of people let me know in the comment section that Reason 14 has dropped. And to be honest, I had no clue about that at all. Matter of fact, I will tell you this much. I just wanted to use Reason because I haven't used it in a while. However, there was a select few people that asked me if I could do a video on Reason 14 and using it with the MPC sample. And guess what? We're going to do exactly that. So the first step in this process is simply plug up your USB Type-C to your computer and to your MPC sample and then turn it on. The next step is obvious. Just open up Reason 14 or whatever version of Reason that you have. The next step is setting up the drivers or to set up MIDI or whatever that you want to do. So we're going to go into settings. In the older versions of Reason, I noticed that it says preferences and not settings. So you would go to preferences from that window and you would just go to MIDI settings or whatever you want to do in that instance. You have MPC sample right in front of you and it's enabled. If you do not see it, then you can go over here to auto detect surfaces and you can click on that and it will go through all of the MIDI controllers that you have set up on your computer. The next thing we need to do is go to the audio settings. So you see that you have audio devices right here, and right now it has my Yamaha selected. It is an MPC sample audio right here. So that is the option that you need to select. It is a DX speakers, and basically what it will do is send all the audio to your MPC sample. You don't necessarily have to set that up now, but I just wanted to show you when we get down to that part where we sample into the MPC sample from Reason. The next tab that we're going to visit over here is sync, because that is very important. So you have sync input, meaning that it will receive it, and then it can also sync out, which means that you can sync out to your MPC sample. So if you wanted to compile some sounds or something like that and send audio or send the sync to your MPC sample, then you would need to select your MPC sample right here. While if you wanted to send the MIDI sync of the BPM of the MPC sample inside, then you will select the MPC sample. And I'm pretty sure someone will write in the comment section that they can't get it right. And that's cool. Let's do MIDI clock sync out, and then we'll select the MPC sample. So I will send the BPM of Reason to the MPC sample. So to receive MIDI, which will go through the USB Type-C, we'll press and hold Shift, and then we'll select the 8th pad, which goes into all of your MIDI configurations. And what you can see right here is the first option is MIDI port. And if I was to select external or USB, I can do USB and it will receive or send. The next thing we need to do is scroll down. So you will see that there's MIDI sync in and MIDI sync out. So what we need to do is set the MIDI sync in to MIDI clock so that it receives any MIDI information to the MPC sample. I have the beat that I did in Reason 13 pulled up in Reason 14, which shouldn't have any issue pulling it up. And what I want to accomplish is being able to see if it does exactly what I need it to do, which is to sync to the MPC sample when I press play. And what do you know? It works. So what I'll do here is switch to this view, and then I will play the music again so you can see the progress bar scrolling at the top. I'll even go to the sequence screen so that you can see it in front of you. As you have noticed, I did not press play on the MPC sample, which means that it works perfectly. So what if I wanted to do the exact reverse thing by pressing play on the MPC sample and then having that beat play in the BPM that I have set in the MPC sample? I'll simply press and hold Shift, and then I will press the 8th pad again. Then I will set up the MIDI configurations right here. So let's go ahead and sync out to the MIDI clock. And if everything is cool, then it will work. Just to prove a point, What I'll do is I'll press and hold the tap tempo button and adjust the BPM to something just a little bit faster, just to distinguish the differences here. So I'll do 96 BPM. Let's go over here to edit, settings, and then we'll set up the internal clock here to the MPC sample. We'll just take that off. We'll just put it on all again or whatever, and then we'll do exactly what we want. After everything is done, you can go to the bottom right corner of your transport, and then you'll see that you'll have MIDI clock available. So once you select the MIDI clock available, and when we press on the button of the MPC sample, then you will see that it is mapped to it. And it's playing faster. So what I'll do in this instance here is go to BPM and lower the BPM. Let's get a closer look. Boom, 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 boom. Everything seems to be working fine, and I like that. Now, what if I wanted to use this as a MIDI controller? Well, you don't necessarily have to go into your MIDI settings to do so, but hey, guess what? You should. So what I'm going to do is just show you, while I'm pressing on the pads, you can see it is, I can use it as a MIDI controller. What I'll do is I'll pull up this rack, which is my drums. So I will just double click or click on something. And you can see that it is working. And as far as I can tell, there's not much lag. Now, when I use it in FL Studio, there's a teeny bit of lag, but it is what it is. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and do full level and then just finger drum real quick. Now, to show proof that in the pudding here, oh Lord, I will hit the pads on the screen. So I'm using my mouse to activate all this stuff over here, and you can see it works perfectly. You know what I mean? Like those are the sounds. I don't have anything loaded in the MPC sample. If I did have something loaded in the MPC sample, you will see it on the screen over here. You will see the waveforms. So I saved the best for last. You already know what we're going to talk about next, and that is sampling from Reason into your MPC sample and vice versa. Let's just exit out of the screen real quick and go right back into settings. And from this point on, we will use the MPC sample as the audio interface or whatnot. So from here, I will just go ahead and connect the MPC sample because it's a DX. Sometimes I forget, but you know, I can read. But other than that, you'll see you select your MPC sample audio. Now, if I was to play this, you wouldn't hear anything. So let me go ahead and get out of the MIDI syncing here and just go back into internal. And then I will set the BPM back to like 92 or whatever it was. And boom, let's go ahead and do that, 92. And from here, you won't really hear any audio, or the audio will be coming from the MPC sample. So let's go ahead and show you that on the screen. It'll be at the bottom right part of the screen. And what I'll do is I will press play inside of, and if I bring my mic over and turn the volume up, it's coming out of the MPC sample. So what that tells me in general is that everything is set up correctly, because that's how it acts in every other DAW. But how would we sample what we got over here? Well, the more interesting thing about this is that there's two ways that you can handle this. And I think you should utilize some of the stuff we already talked about. And when we do the syncing, we'll sync the MPC sample to Reason because we want to send the clock out. Let's send the clock out there. I will just choose no clock, and then I'll use the MPC sample. I'll go ahead and select sync in on the MPC sample like I should. You know, hey, look, I mess up from time to time. And then I'll go in here and see if I can select it. And if not, it's cool. But here it goes. See, I had to set up the MPC sample to sync out. and it reads, and all you have to do is what you normally do when you're sampling or whatnot on the MPC Sample. So if you need to, make sure that you set it up to the BPM inside of the MPC Sample that you have in your DAW, if just in case you lose sync. It's something that happens. And what we'll do is just go right back into here. I'm going to clear that sample out again, and then let's press this pad, and we'll make sure that when we go into Reason, we'll make sure that we set it back to the very beginning, then press play. And everything should be fine. Doom, 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 doom. Mm-hmm. Now from this point on, if I was to play the sample again, it is cut perfectly, so that's cool. Now we're in the final countdown. I have unplugged the MPC Sample from my computer, so it's no longer working in Reason, so there's no reason to work with Reason right now, pun intended. And I have the sample right here. I have my sequence set up the way I want it to 92 BPM, which is what I was working with in the first place, just from doing that. And I can just record simply as that. So what I'll do is press sequence record, play start, 3, 4. And if you have anything that you don't like, of course, shift and then the minus sign, which will undo the recorded events. I noticed that quantize was on. I want it loose. I'll just turn it off and then do it again. And we're right in there. Woo. And just like that, you can sample into your MPC Sample from Reason or to Reason as well. So tell me how you feel about this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the information, and you'll like and comment and all that stuff. But I just want to give my input for a second. Conclusion: Reason 14, dope. I want to explore more of Reason 14, and we will on this channel. I'll probably cook some more because there's devices and stuff like that. I do enjoy doing this kind of workflow between DAWs because it works like that in all DAWs, not just in Reason 14, but you Reason heads get a treat. I've only done 2 videos talking about syncing in and out of your DAW, and you know how I be.